Begin. So grab a pen and some paper and get comfortable and enjoy the show. Hello, I'm Janet Hogan, co-founder and director of Botanica Weddings, and a big welcome to our recruitment session for the role of client services team member, or salesperson, as we used to say in the dark ages when it referred to wearing out shoe leather, pounding the pavement, selling encyclopedias. Hasn't the world changed? Who would have imagined a sales role where it's all online, where you can work from home, and we warm up your leads for you with a well-oiled content campaign and send them direct to your inbox? But more on that later. Right now, a bit of housekeeping. This presentation will last around 30 minutes, and do pay attention to everything we go through because there will be a multiple choice quiz at the end. Only joking, but I have to say, this is a fantastic position and it's well worth giving it your undivided 100% attention. So let's get on with it. What's our vision? Well, we don't like to think small at Botanica Weddings, and we're pretty driven by the desire to be the best at whatever we do and make a real difference to as many lives as we can. In the world of destination weddings, that means becoming the industry leaders, the experts in our field. Our vision in a nutshell is to become the most respected, most successful destination weddings company in the world. So how are we making that vision a reality? What does that mean in a day-to-day sense? What it means is our aim is to provide the highest quality of experience, venue, and service at the most competitive price, and so fulfill the number one requirement of most brides, a wedding that represents incredible value for money. Every organization runs by a common set of values. It defines who we are. It's what creates our culture. It begins with a realization that the customer always comes first. And we show that in our dedication to great service. It means when you get back to a lead, it's not in 24 hours. It's as soon as the inquiry hits your inbox. Second, responsibility. There's nothing worse than people who play the blame game, accusing others when something goes wrong, instead of saying, hey, it was me who stuffed up. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. And besides, in most cases, all it points to is a flaw in the system, which then helps us improve and make life better for others. Being responsible is really being empowered. Number 3, at Botanica, the golden rule always applies. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. It kind of goes without saying, but it's still good to remind everyone occasionally. Perseverance. Doesn't this apply to sales? Never, ever give up on a lead. In fact, we've totally banned the use of the word dead lead in our organization. A lead is never dead. As you probably know, 85% of sales happen after you've made 5 contacts with a lead, and yet only 10% of businesses do that. We're implementing systems to make it even easier for you to do that because we know how much that level of perseverance says we're a company that really wants your business. Support. We're all here to watch each other's backs. In a position where you're working from home, knowing support is always out there is essential if you're going to be a long-term player in the team. And by the way, the person one of you will be replacing was with us for 6 years, so it is possible to be that long-term player. Honesty. In particular, being honest with yourself, knowing when you're playing at less than 100% and having the courage to do something about it. 7, integrity. If you say to a lead you'll call them back tomorrow, it means you'll call them back tomorrow. And yes, we can put our own checks in place, but in the end, integrity must come from within. My all-time favorite, gratitude. I practice this one every morning by writing down 10 things I'm grateful for. It's a great, positive, good karma way to start the day. Celebration. So important in sales. Give a big woohoo every time you get a sale, jump in the air, run down the corridor screaming, whatever. Just make sure you acknowledge every win. It gets your endorphins going, which in turn makes you want to get another sale and another. And isn't that the whole point? And finally, number 10, growth. What are we here for if not to grow? One of the reasons we call ourselves Botanica Weddings isn't just because we love nature and gardens. We love the whole concept of expansion, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone and becoming bigger people. So what makes us unique? Well, for a start, we're specialists. We only do weddings. We're not an events organization. We don't do any other type of functions. We just specialize in weddings. So that also reinforces our position as experts. And venues, we have a really strict criteria for choosing venues. They have to be absolutely breathtaking. And they also have to provide a sense of journey, particularly for the guests who, when you think about it, are going to be there for anywhere between 7 and 8 hours. So the venues themselves have to have at least 4 different points of interest so that the guests get to move from place to place. So we have a very strict criteria, and as a result, the venues that one of you will be promoting are really, really special. Of course, no matter how good our systems are, it all comes down to people. And people who reflect our values is really what we're looking for. Yes, in this position, we definitely want people with experience. We can't afford to train people from the start. But it is your attitude above all, that never say die attitude that we're really looking for. Systems. The wedding industry is traditionally a bit of a mum and dad type industry, made up of people who tend to think quite small, not in an expansionist way. So what we've done at Botanica Weddings is absolutely groundbreaking. We have an online planning system, for instance, called Poppy, which is unique in the world. And we're in the process of implementing a terrific system for sales too, which is all about getting content that's of value to our couples as part of the sales process. So it's really a system where we nurture the leads. Training. And of course, we need to train our sales team up on the Botanica way, and we need to keep our ear to the market as well, because as you'd be aware, things are changing so quickly. And the market that we're dealing with now is very different from the market just 2 or 3 years ago. So we have to keep refining our systems accordingly and then offering training in those new systems. So definitely our philosophy is even when it's perfect, how can it be better? And you can see a photo there of one of our great planners, Kat. I think she's pulling a little thread, a loose thread off the flower girl's dress there. So it's all about the mission. It's all about delivering incredible value for money. That's really what drives us, an exceptional experience, and making it available to as many couples as we can. 100% commitment from all of us, particularly important in sales. It's just, there's really no point doing anything unless you're going to be 100% committed to it, and then it actually becomes so engaging. It's a joy. But that's a philosophy that we have here at Botanica Weddings. Accordingly, we have a team that's very tight, loyal, and dedicated. So everyone is into supporting each other. It's a sort of a cooperative structure, if you like, rather than a hierarchical one. We like to think that everyone is with us for the long term, that everyone is here to grow. And where possible, we promote from within the company as well. And we are definitely on an expansion path, which I'll get into. Now, in terms of our positioning in the marketplace, our unique selling proposition, we actually began with just one venue, Villa Botanica. That was in 2008 that we started holding weddings there. And the positioning line for Villa Botanica was Australia's most exquisite wedding venue. And it's certainly won enough Australian bridal industry awards to be able to justify that positioning. As we've expanded overseas to Bali, that positioning has actually expanded with us. So we're now Botanica Weddings, the world's most exquisite weddings. So we're all about building the perceived value of our product first, and then having done that, we then present a price that is surprisingly affordable. It's a winning combination, and it makes the whole sales process a lot easier. We've expanded into Bali with 4 venues. So there is the Royal Pitamaha, which is a fabulous venue. It's like a palace, a temple to Balinese culture, created by the King of Ubud, which is the cultural centre of Bali. Taman Baguan, which is a beautiful venue on the beach down in the Nusa Dua region, if you know Bali. Ayodhya Resort, not far away, in the same area. That's our entry-level product there. And then Saratoga, which is just undergoing renovation and is going to be completed in September, is a superb venue. That's one that we own. So a little bit about us. There's a photo of my better half, Ralph, and me. And yeah, we've been married now for 31 years. Actually, we've been together, I'll have to adjust that slide. We've actually been together for about 35 years. We are from Sydney, Australia, originally. We ran restaurants together, Seagull's and the Cactus Cafe, so we come from a hospitality background. However, from there, we set up and ran our own advertising agency for many years called Oddfellows. Some of you may remember certain campaigns, like Aussie Kids or Weet-Bix Kids. We were very much promoters of those emotive anthem-style television campaigns. From there, we became land developers and developed Botanica Estate in the Whitsundays, Australia. And at the end of that road was our property called Villa Botanica. And Villa Botanica, of course, is now the flagship venue of Botanica Weddings. So we've been running Botanica Weddings since 2008 and going from strength to strength. So how our company is structured. So Ralph and I are the directors. We work very closely with our general manager, Cindy Malifa, and she's across our various satellites in Bali and in the Whitsundays. So we have an office in both regions. So she oversees marketing, sales, our ops team in Australia, in the Whitsundays, our ops team in Bali, and then, of course, finance and accounting, which is a separate arm again. Okay, so in terms of the company, look, the fantastic thing about the wedding industry is that it's one industry where, as I mentioned before, it seems to be made up of fairly small businesses. No one's really taking ownership of this industry, and we see that as our opportunity. So we have a sales and marketing team of 10 people who are located, well, all over the world, really, in Mexico, mostly in Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, and Bali, but we are increasingly becoming an international company. And, you know, thank goodness for the internet, we can do that these days, even with the time differences. We're getting record number of leads and sales. It's a very exciting period for us. There are actually 8,000 weddings per annum in Bali. Many of them are elopements. And in fact, Saratoga is being designed as an intimate wedding venue. So we're planning on picking up a lot of those elopements. But it is a very big wedding industry over here. I'm actually recording this from Bali. So there's lots of potential there. We're aiming for next year 350 weddings a year. It's absolutely possible. We've come a long way when I consider in our first year we held 9 weddings, and now we just tend to be adding a 0 each year. But with the system in place, that's absolutely feasible. We're setting our sights on targeting new markets. So Jakarta, where there's a growing middle class, an affluent population, and of course the expat population in Singapore and Hong Kong, who view Bali as their favorite playground. And New Zealand's a growing market, and also the US. Definitely the world's becoming a smaller place when it comes to destination weddings. And then we'd like to be expanding into overseas markets such as Fiji, Thailand, Greece, etc. Okay, so who are we looking for? Yes, I know Superman's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. We are looking for a real gun salesperson. In a nutshell, a never say die driver with engaging people skills. That means someone who's able to close deals. That is so important, because it's one thing being able to get on with people, but the real skill is getting them over the line. So being able to close deals while creating that solid, warm rapport. So it's 2 trays, and we've had very, very high records of sales. So we know it's possible, but we know that we're looking at for a very particular type of person to be that highly successful salesperson. Ambitious and energetic, yeah. You really need to be motivated and incentivized to get the sale. It's like something you simply do not give up on. And of course, that requires a high degree of energy. So I'm very much about all the different ways that you can maximize your energy. It's my personal pet obsession, and it really applies in sales. And that goes with that resilience, that knowing that the more no's you get, the more sales you'll make. So just being absolutely dogged in pursuing those leads. And I like to think it's because you know that basically you're doing them a favor with that doggedness, because what we offer our clients really is unmatched by anyone else. So to let a lead go, in a way, you're doing them a great disservice. Yeah, be open to learning, because it is easy to get set in your ways. And I just know with this market, like I said before, our background was in advertising, and the life cycle of a product. I remember when Sony Walkmans came out, it was like a hot product for about 8 years. Now, something remains a hot product for 6 months at maximum. And that goes with our market. It's changing now. We're marketing to millennials, people from, uh, the average bride is around 28, 29 years old, groom 30, 31, the millennials, and they're very different from brides and grooms even, 2 or 3 years ago. So we have to be always open to learning new ways to communicate with the marketplace as it keeps changing. And this one is so important, that you are experienced. We cannot afford to train someone from scratch. So you really will need to be able to prove to us that you have those runs on the board. We really need someone who is a gun salesperson. We know your value. We believe that the way we've structured the commissions, you will be well rewarded. We will do everything to support you. Our culture is sales first before everything else. Well, sales and marketing. Our background in advertising means we're right onto the marketing. So it is our company's strength. In a sense, I see us as a sales and marketing company above all. And so your love of sales really has to be in your genes. You just have to have a passion for it. Why you should work with us? Wow, there are lots and lots of reasons. There are the purely logical reasons, that having warm leads delivered straight to your inbox sure beats making 100 cold calls a day. So we definitely take the hard bit of the sales business away from you and make it easy in that sense. You also have the luxury of being able to work from home. And really, we'd probably prefer someone who is based in Bali. However, it's not a deal breaker, and if you are based in Australia, that's okay. And the main thing is that you have the motivation and discipline to work at home. But all our other sales team members do that, and I work from home as well. In fact, we're increasingly becoming a satellite type organization, and I absolutely love it. Okay, so in terms of remuneration, we'll get into more detail later when I explain the next stage in the process. But essentially, it's a retainer, a smallish retainer, and generous commission. So there's a level of security in having a regular income, but of course, you're in direct control over your income, because it's directly parallel with the number of sales that you make, directly proportionate. There's a proven system that we give you to follow, so you're not just left to go it on your own. We're developing a lot of content to send out to leads as well. So it's actually a lot of fun, in fact, because you really do feel that you're out there helping people as against hounding them. It's a very positive team environment. We've got a great general manager in Cindy. She comes from a sales background, so the whole culture of this company is very biased towards sales. You can work flexible hours. We develop our rosters, so you definitely get your weekend. We're not expecting anyone to work 7 days. And we are looking for someone who is able to start immediately. A real plus with this job is that you are working in an industry that does provide a sense of fulfillment. I mean, you're providing people with the happiest day of their life. it's incredibly rewarding. And just being able to read the testimonials, sometimes we have people booking 2 years in advance. So you might not get that testimonial for a couple of years, but when it comes through, it's lovely, and you're not just providing this experience to the couple, but all their guests. So on average, 48 guests attend a destination wedding. And we have people who swore that they'd never want to go to Bali. And then one fellow in particular, I remember, he not only wanted to come back to Bali, but he was convincing his daughter why she should get married over here as well. So those stories are great. And as a company, we have a glowing reputation. We have great values. We win the industry awards where they're relevant. I mentioned the Australian Bridal Industry Awards. And we are a company that does what it says it does. We've got a very good reputation with our suppliers. And that's something that we're very proud of. Okay. So what I've done is shared with you a glimpse of who we are, so you get more of an idea of this job. I have to say it's a terrific position. I won't lie and say it's a bed of roses. Any sales position is challenging. I understand that. It's not a job I personally could do. I'm not someone who's got that driver to pull people over the line. But when you have it, I've seen it in, as I mentioned, the fellow who's just left our business, which is why we're advertising this position. When he was on a run, he was just incredible. So, and he did very well from it financially as well. So to go to the next level, I think if you really think you've got what it takes, I would definitely be encouraging you to do that. I probably don't even need to be telling you that. Here's what's involved. Stage 1. Okay, we need to make sure that you are the right person for the job. So we ask you to go to this website. This is where you'll need your pen and paper. It's a DISC profile and also a values test. There are 2 there to do. They don't take very long, maximum 15 minutes, if that. So go to www.tonyrobbins.com/UE/. Okay, I'll just give you some time to write that. I'm sure most of you know who Tony Robbins is, and we've researched lots and lots of different versions of this test, and this one I feel is the best. It's also online, so it's very easy. Now, this is where it gets serious. Within the next 30 minutes, we need you to email us your profile results. So that's your DISC profile result and your values result. And then in that email, tell us why you would like to work for Botanica Weddings, together with your Skype name. Okay? So just read through that carefully. And then I need you to send that email to my trusty PA, whose email address is adminassist1@botanicaweddings.com. Okay. Now, what happens after that? Stage 2, tomorrow we will select the successful candidates to take part in a Skype interview. Now, this interview is quite short. It's only 15 minutes. It's like speed dating. But we get a pretty good idea from that of who you are and if you're the right sort of person. And then the following stage, we organize generally a short list of 3 people for a longer one-to-one interview. That would be with me and our general manager, Cindy Malifa. That interview normally goes for about 30 minutes. And stage 4, someone will be offered a position. So it's a fairly quick process. I'd like to think that in a week's time we will have a new member to our sales team, and who knows, it could be you. We really hope it is. We know that the right person is out there, and I have to say, if it's you, you're going to have a fabulous time working in a fabulous industry with a great company, I have to say, in that industry. So thank you so much for being so attentive and watching this right till the very end. It's appreciated, and we really look forward to hearing from you tomorrow. Okay, or I should say in the next 30 minutes. Okay, good luck.